afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Emirates Arabian Horse Society presentation. And I am carrying on the second part of the preparation and judging of horses and horse training and evaluation. This presentation is put together to illustrate what a judge is looking for in show presentation and how you can help the judges to see your horses at their best, remembering that there's no such thing as the perfect horse, but this is what we are all aiming for in the show ring. And we will quickly go through what we covered the other day and then move on to the final little bit. So the important thing is to plan in advance. If you're going to show your horses, you must plan well in advance. At the show, the first thing to realize is that the time allowed for the judges is actually very short. They have very limited time. 3 minutes it works out per horse in a class, including the walk round and the individual presentation. So it's essential to get the horse ready well in advance. You must prepare in advance, and the horse goes into the ring with the least possible fuss, and it's on show from the moment it steps inside the ring. And this means very good training and good conditioning.
السلام عليكم. اليوم نكمل ما سبق، وأهم شيء أن نعرف كيف نعرض الخيل، لأن التحكيم يدوم 3 دقائق، فلا بد أن نختار الخيل في أحسن المظهر المثالي الذي يفتش عنه الحكام.
As you can see from the slide, I put a few points up here. So apart from making sure you plan well in advance, the reasons are you must not have the horse too fat or too thin or without good muscles. And all those things can negatively affect the impression that the judge gets when you go into the ring. You need to plan which shows you'll attend, and you must not show your horses too frequently or they will get bored or they will turn sour, especially young horses. And you need to select a trainer you can trust to do the best for your stable and who will treat the horses kindly and be honest with you about their potential. And if he's not a full-time employee, then he must give your stable staff a good program to work to, because that again is essential. And ideally you want him to come back and check up that things are going well as the training progresses, not just arriving the day before the show and hoping everything will be all right.
فلا بد لنا أن نختار الخيل التي نريد أن نعرضها حسب المسابقات، والاهتمام أولاً من السمنة المفرطة أو النحافة، لأنها قد تؤثر على الخيل. ثانياً عدم اللجوء إلى عرض الخيول الصغار السن لإبقائها في وضعية جاهزية كبرى. اختيار المدرب لكي يعطي أكثر شيء أو يبين أو يبرز أكثر شيء للخيول ما يبغاها الحكم. إذا كان عندك مدرب، أهم شيء مدرب مو معك، يعني مو ملتزم وياك، بس لازم مراقبته لكي يعطي كل الأوامر إلى السياسة اللي عندك والمساعدين.
A horse that's too thin or too fat or lacking in muscle tone is always going to be at a disadvantage. As you can see here, the conformation of the chestnut colt, you can see all his bones, and we would not expect to see this in the show horse. On the other hand, the grey mare is unhealthily fat and a prime candidate for laminitis, and we all know how expensive it can be or fatal it can be for a horse to have laminitis. She's got the crest of a stallion, and rolls of fat over the withers and croup. She looks very masculine and could well do with considerably less kilos.
هنا أهمية السمنة. على اليمين نرى الخيل الأشقر عنده نحافة مفرطة تضيع كل الخصائص داخل الخيل العربية المحبوبة في مسابقات الجمال. بالعكس الفرس على اليمين الزرقاء كثيرة السمنة فذهبت عنها الأنوثة وظهرت أنها أكثر ذات ذكورية أكثر. فهنا السمنة قد أثرت على تحكيم الخيل.
Sorry. And this cannot be sorted out overnight. Each horse must have a plan and a program for the season. I can't stress this enough. And your horse needs to be feeling at its best when it goes into the ring. So it mustn't be tired, it mustn't be shut up for too long so that it's explosive. A good trainer or hander will help you with this and help train the staff. Horses will always perform better for people they know and trust. And remember, young horses who go out too often will turn sour. Don't forget, for the long-term good and development of the horse, especially youngsters, they must have plenty of paddock time and a good firm surface and company to be socialized. Horses are herd animals designed to be moving and eating most of the time. And if they're shut up in stables, apart from the mental stress, they become prone to diseases such as colic and laminitis. And they will not develop muscles properly, bones will not become dense, legs need to be used to strengthen, and the chest to open to give heart and lung space. And in the very highly competitive world of the show today, small weaknesses and small details make the difference of half a point, which could cost you a final place in the lineup.
الخيل وجد للرياضة، فاعتماد التربية لابد من مساحات كبرى وتجنب المكوث زيادة في الاسطبلات خاصة للمواليد وصغار السن. كثرة الوقوف في الاسطبلات قد تؤثر على حياته الصحية فتكثر عليه مشاكل كثيرة. وأهم شيء أن نكون قريبين من الخيل للتعرف، والقرابة تؤثر على تجهيزهم في العروض الجمال. فكثيرا ما صغار الأشياء قد تؤثر على كماليات الخيل في التحكيم.
Methods of showing and judging systems have changed a lot over the years, and just you can see this picture here of 3 20th century British national champions and 3 21st century world champions. And we must be aware, and certainly in the West, shows and what we do in all equestrian matters is coming under very close scrutiny by animal rights groups, especially in our world and the racing world and the endurance world, and we should take note. Cruelty should never be accepted, either in training or in presentation. And as I'm sure people here will know, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had many sayings to protect and respect horses, and many of these are being overlooked these days. Owners must take responsibility for the treatment of their horses and recognize when one is being abused for a quick fix result. The Arabian horse is one you should be able to trust with your children, and if it isn't, you must question why. Is it something in the pedigree that needs to be considered, or has the horse been abused? Neither is acceptable.
هنا بنلاحظ تطور الخيل. هنا في القرن العشرين عندنا نوعية من الخيول مختلفة كثيرا على الخيول المعروضة في القرن ال21. بما أنها عربية فلا نشك في سلالتها، لكن التحكيم وقراءة الخيل في منظومة واستعماله قد يؤثر على الشكل الطبيعي للخيل العربية الأصيلة. فلا بد من وضع بيانات في تحسين الخيول العربية حسب النظرة الموجهة من التحكيم الحاضر.
So to the arena, the entrance into the ring and the first impression shown to the judge is of the greatest importance. This is where the judges are going to start to make their first idea of a lineup. The judge is looking for a balanced picture, a horse with good proportions, one that shows presence and quality, and it should, if it's male, it should look masculine, and if it's female, it should look feminine. A good walk is also, this is the only time that the judge will actually properly see the horse walking, and if it doesn't, it's not going to get extra marks when the handlers all push the horse's head in, come into the judges, or stop the horses as they're walking around and try to pose them in the walk. It doesn't help. Often we'll just turn our backs, but it affects everybody down the line of people that are coming behind. It's the time when the judge will see the real top line and the neck set, and of course how athletic it is when it's walking. And owners should also learn to look at their horses in the walk, not just in the pose.
هنا ندخل في الشغل الصح وبداية التحكيم، وأهم شيء هي النظرة الأولى وخاصة في الوولك. وأنتم تعرفون أن الوولك مهم كثير للحكام، فلابد أن نتجنب فكرة أي سايس يمكن له الدخول بالخيل، لأنه النظرة الأولى قد تؤثر على الخيل في حد ذاته. كيف؟ لأن الحكام يريدون خيل متوازن مع إظهار الفصيلة وإظهار وجوده في الساحة حسب الذكورية أو الأنثوية، فما دخل الخيل الأنثى غير دخل الذكر. الحركة الجيدة، المشي الجيد يعطي قيمة كبيرة للمهر أو الفرس أو الذكر. الخيل نتجنب أن نكون قريب من الحكام لأنه قد يؤثر على النتائج ويعطي نتائج سلبية، لأن الحكم يبحث عن الجسم وعن الرقبة وعن الرأس، فنتجنب أن نكون قريبون من الحكام.
I think this is one of the areas that the point system falls down, because we don't actually have a mark for the walk, and I think possibly it should be added because the walk is one of the most important paces. Anyway, after the walk round, we come to the individual trot, and the best presentation should have a minimum or no circling, and the ECAHO rule is of no more than 5 circles. The judge is looking for power from the hindquarters, slight elevation of the front end, and the use of the neck for balance and a proud, happy expression. Good flexion in all the joints, stifles, hocks, knees, etc. The hind legs stepping well under the body. And you can see in both these slides that these two mares are really powering, powering from behind. These days, the horses come into the ring at the trot and is expected to do a full circuit showing a bold, free stride and the quality of its movement. Also, the general carriage of the head, neck and tail can be properly seen. The Arabian is best seen for its famous breathtaking action, and it is disappointing how few really classic movers there are today. Also, how few horses appear to have been properly trained to go in a straight line, with handlers unable to control the speed and keep in a straight line, resulting in the frequent circling, not to mention the badly timed assistance from outside the ring, which regularly causes the horse to break stride. compare these two pictures. On the right is a filly trotting straight, using her hocks with a handler well placed and in control. The judge can see everything needed to give a good score. On the other hand, the left-hand picture shows the handler far behind the horse, whose neck is bent round, losing any shape, and the back is hollowed. The stride is not even quite even. He's probably even slightly lame in the way the position of the hind legs, the pairs of legs are raised. And regardless of which is better, the better mover at home, which one here is going to receive the best marks?
هنا أهمية الحركة الخضم أن لابد من أن نقدم الخيل مع العارض في حركة جيدة، أن نبتعد عن الدوران، لهذا يدل على أن الخيل غير مدرب. حركة العارض مع حركة الخيل لازم تكون متناسقة. مكان العارض حين الركض له أهمية كبيرة. الصورتين هذه تدل على أن الحركة قد تتأثر، الجسم قد يتأثر، الرقبة قد تتأثر مع رفعة الرأس. فالأول يركض جنبا لجنب، فهناك المد واضح في الحركة، الجسم واضح، الرقبة مع الرأس. أما في المثال الثاني نجد العارض وراء الخيل لأنه ما وجد صاحبه، فراحت عنه كل المميزات أو الأشياء التي تؤثر في التحكيم، فيمكن نخسر نقاط من عدم اهتمام العارض بالمجهود الذي يحتم عليه القيام به.
Judges are often left to give a score for the horse that has only shown 4 or 5 strides of a true trot. These are the sort of pictures that it's the sort of picture we often get as judges in the ring with the circling. We actually don't see it. You may see your own horse and you know what your own horse can do at home, but we don't know it. We can only judge what we see in the class. And I again suggest that trainers need to do much more training to make their horses trot properly. I am never going to give a 20 for a trot that has a circle in it unless it's absolutely essential.
هنا أمثلة قد تؤثر على التحكيم وتنزل في عدد الحركة. كثرة الدوران، أصلا حتى الصورة تبين أن الخيل مش فاهم شو حيسوي، نظرة الأعين، الأذان، فمش حيديك الحركة التي أنت كنت تراها في الاسطبل، فحركته حتنزل، يمكن مش حيحصل على العلامة المتوسطة في هذه الحالات.
And there's seldom any benefit from a handler coming rushing into the ring at a flat run, and I would ask your handlers not to do this. The horse is often cantering with its head up and a hollow back, and it's expecting a jerk on the lead rein. It must be circled to get it into some form of balance, and the judge just does not see a good impression from the get-go. Maybe half a point's already gone out of the window. Also, frequently you see a poor horse desperately trying to follow a mad handler who does not even appear to know where he is in the ring or where the judges are. And the poor horse is trying to follow and do its best. It's painful to watch, and these are points thrown away, but judges can only judge what they see, and they're often very kind. Best handlers are always aware of the ring and where they are. They regulate the speed they go and use as much or as little of the ring as is necessary to suit the trot of their horses. And once a horse is shown, it's no need to go backwards and forwards and spoil the impression. Finally, handlers running at the back of the horse are in terrible danger of getting kicked and possibly a very serious accident to their private parts, which would not be a very good idea in the ring. Also, I would suggest that owners, DCs, and show organisers should consist on limiting the warming up in the collecting ring. It should be kept to an absolute minimum. A well-trained horse with natural presence should hardly need it. So much damage is caused to joints and legs by the crazy circling by inexperienced grooms, not to mention the mental stress, especially on young horses. It's a very costly business training and entering a horse for a show, only for it to be disqualified through lameness. And many people looking on in the collecting ring at this behavior, it's the unacceptable face of Arabian showing.
هنا أهمية الأخطاء التي نقومها عادة وموجودة في كل الشوات، من بداية من تحذير الخيل وفي ساحة التحمية. كثرة الدوران قد تؤثر، مما يؤثر خاصة على الأرجل والقوائم، وعادة ما نضطر لسحب الخيل. كثرة الدوران وكثرة الحس الذي يقوم به العراض قد يؤثر كذلك على التحكيم. كثرة الدوران من شأنها أن تقلل من أهمية الخيل وأن تعطيه شكل غير مطلوب ويمكن عليه تقييم غير صادق. فعلينا أن نتجنب وأن نحذر كملاك كسياس وكعارضي.
It used to be that Russian and Polish horses particularly would go to sleep in the collecting ring, and then at a click-click from the handler just before going into the arena, the tail would go up, the neck would arch, off the horse would go with a few slow steps to start up, then building up to the heart-stopping flying trot without a single circle. The judge Robin Hartog used to be a fantastic handler in his day. Here we have a stallion who came out straight from his box. He shows natural presence and pride, natural tail carriage, and note the controlled, powerful trot and the handler in unison and in control.
هنا نبين العلاقة لما تكون مدروسة بين العارض والخيل وحميمية، يكون الخيل مرتاح نفسيا فيظهر في شكل أحلى، وهذا ميزة يختص بها المدربين في أن لا بد من وضع وقت طويل مع الخيل، خاصة في المشي وفي الحركة. الخيل يحاكي العارض، فلا بد من الاهتمام بالعلاقة الحميمية بين العارض والخيل.
Horses really like to learn and can be taught if time is taken, and vital points can be lost or gained by the amount your trainer trains the horse to trot. So moving on, next phase in the show is the individual walk, and this is a diagram which just shows you the difference between straight moving, dishing and winging, and obviously we want the horse to move as straight as possible. And the thing is, if you have insufficient exercise or turn out in deep sand, it's very dangerous for the development of the young horse. They need firm ground to develop good hooves and good straight action, and also a good farrier. Farriers can do miracles. I cannot stress enough how it's money well spent to have a good farrier, especially for the young horses.
هنا انتقلنا إلى المشي. هنا تقييم القوائم، وهناك 3 أنواع من المشي: القوائم السليمة والنوعين الثانيين الذي لازم العارض يحاول أن يصحح المسار الخيل. مسار الخيل يبدأ من الاسطبل، الحداد لابد أن يحاول أن إصلاح حركة الخيل، والعارض لابد عليه أن يهتم بالوضعية هذه في المشي، وأن ينتبه كيف يعرض خيله في المشي.
Now we come to the stand-up, and here you can see an untrained filly just standing as she's held in the paddock. Then with minimum, well actually no training at all, but just a little bit of persuasion, she poses herself, and you can see the difference it makes. It's not the hard stand-up, but she is greatly improved in her general outline. The important thing is when you move from this relatively posed horse to the hard stand-up, underneath you've still got the other one with all its faults. And you, as owners, you of course want your handler to disguise those, but they are there, and as breeders, don't be confused by looking at the horse as it is when it's posed. Look at it when it's in the paddock, relaxed, and then you really see it.
هنا صورتين لنفس الخيل. الصورة الأولى الخيل عادي مو معروض. الصورة الثانية فيه عرض ماسك العرض بدأ التشغيل. نفس الخيل لكن الميزة قد ظهرت في الثانية لما بدأنا نعرض، فنشوف الجسم هنا مستقيم، الركبة كيف ظهرت والرأس. أهم شيء أن نشوف الخيل أو نرى الخيل في الاسطبل بدون تدريب أو البادوك بدون تدريب، ونقرر كيفية عرض الخيل.
Don't forget, judge has very limited time to see the horse because these DC people and ringmasters, they push, 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 and so you have to get that horse. Your handler has to get that horse into the best position as quickly as possible when it comes into the stand-up. And this is just a few quick we look at these pictures. If you look at the one on the nearest me, the horse is standing in a pretty good position for assessing his conformation. The next one is too often similar to what we see with the horse's head stuck up in the air. The judge is going to have to look up at its nostrils, its eye has rolled back, you don't see the size of the eye, and the back is starting to hollow. Whereas the far away one, the neck is shrunk back, the horse is nervous of the handler and is pulled back, and he does have under muscle, and now I can see it, even though in 2 seconds maybe he's going to be reposed. So your handler is crucial to getting the best pose to hide the faults.
هنا أهمية العرض، الوقت قصير دقيقتين، نرى 3 صور لنفس الخيل، المسك ثم الاعتدال في النهاية. في الاعتدال نرى أن الرأس مرفوع كثير، فبانت كل الركبة كل خصائص الركبة قد راحت، وهذا مهم كثير للعراض أن يهتمون بالعرض.
As judges, we're judging horses, not showmanship. And here you have 2 rather different horses. On my side, there's a bay US national champion of some years ago, but you can really see his correct conformation. Whereas on the other side, you've got a most beautiful filly, but she's posed in such a way that actually her neck looks as if it's coming out low down, and her back has been hollowed. Her head is so high, I need platform shoes to actually see her head. And we're always having to ask the handler to let down the head. So again, I would try to stress and try to encourage less of the hard stand-up, more of the alert, happy, confident horses looking at us. That's what we like to judge.
هنا طريقة العرض مهمة كثير. عرض الخيل عشان نظهر مميزاته بين الصورتين مختلف كثير، لكن هنا قد أبرز كل ما لديه من مميزات، ولكن فيه تحس شد كثير على العضلات خاصة في الظهر. وأهم شيء عشان نعرف أن الشد كثير القوائم الأمامية والقوائم اللي من خلف. عندنا الحين بنشوف 3، وهذه ميزة قد تؤثر على الخيل. رفعة الخيل ومكانة الخيل جيدة، لكن نحافظ على الطابع الأصلي للخيل العربية.
And I'm not meaning that this that any of these are perfect examples, but it's just to try to show you the difference between how you can best assess the horse and what judges would like to see to be able to give you a fair assessment of your horse. This is too often what we see. None of these fillies are standing in a way a horse would naturally stand, and this makes them very difficult to judge properly. With the chestnut and the middle grey, the handler is concentrating so much on stretching out the neck that he's forgetting about the back ends. The chestnut also looks to me, if you look at her tail, very much as if she's been gingered, which I think is a shocking thing to do to the horses. I wonder how many of us would like to be gingered. The middle grey is overstretched, and does that mean she's high behind? I would suspect if she pulled her hind legs forward, she would be high behind and not give us a balanced picture. Whilst the third one, well, she's got a beautiful head, but she hasn't got a neck, and the handler is probably so busy looking at the head that he's forgotten all about the neck, which she has pulled up. She could look much better, her neck, if he had given it some thought.
3 صور تحاكي وضعية الخيل عند العرض. الصورة الأولى نرى القوائم غير مستوية، الرقبة ظاهرة كثير، لكن الرأس تحكيمه حيكون سيء، خاصة مرفوع فوق، العين تبان بيضاء. الثاني في شد كثير، بانت الرقبة لكن الرأس والجسم قد انتهى، ولكن كل شيء مربوط بالقوائم. أهم شيء القوائم. في آخر صورة اهتم العارض بالرأس، وهنا الرقبة راحت.
And this is the last picture of the stand-ups. We move on to head next, but it's just one more slide of how the stand-up can distort the picture we're trying to create. On the left is a mare with her head pushed up into an unnatural headset, leading to a very hollow back. And if you look at her head, you can see that she wants to see what's going on, so she rolls her eyes, and it's a most unattractive picture we, the judges, are presented with. And by contrast, the other mare shows a beautiful top line and a beautifully shaped neck, and incidentally, she was eventually a world champion.
نفس الأخطاء. الصورة الأولى الرأس مرفوع كثير، الخيل متشنج لأنه لازم يريد أن يعرف ماذا يريد منه العارض، فالأعين قد نظرة الخيل اللي تحت صار عندها بياض. في الثانية الخيل مرتاحة، ستاند يعني، والجسم في أحسن شيء، كذلك الرأس والأذن. تأثير الرقبة العالية على الجسم، هذا اللي قلنا عليه، فبان الجسم هنا في وضعية سيئة.
Heads and necks. This, of course, is the most important, probably the biggest part that we look at in the Arabian horse, one of the most important identifying features of the modern show horse. You will see here that the 3 horses, all of them with their heads stuck up in the air, they've all rolled their eyes, and they're all trying to do their best, but their ears have gone out because they're trying to see. But particularly look at the grey, all of them have got beautiful heads. I'm not criticizing the heads at all, or even probably the necks, but the way this grey horse has been stood up, you can see what a bad bulging muscles he has underneath his head, on the underside of his neck, and you can see also he looks quite thick through the throat latch.
رفعة الرأس هنا قد تؤثر على الأعين، فبان البياض وعادة كأنها صغيرة. كذلك أثرت على الرقبة في آخر صورة، فمستحسن أن تتجنب هذه الوضعية.
excuse me. I think thinking of the handler class the other day, we did notice many of the handlers, they were very busy, they tried very hard, they were so busy trying to present the head and neck, they did forget about the back ends and the legs and all this sort of thing. So it's the whole horse we're judging, not just the head and neck. And just one small point is that there is always talk of splitting the head from the neck for the scores. And I must say, if you're a rider, you're going to be much happier to have a horse with a really good neck than an outstandingly beautiful head. So necks are very, very important. So we must not forget our necks.
التركيز على الرأس والرقبة قد يؤثر في التحكيم ويتجنب العارض أو ينسى أو يتجاهل الجسم، ولهذا عادة لما يكون الرأس جميل ووضعية الخيل قد تؤثر على الرقبة. في عدة بطولات لازم أن نعطي عدد للرأس وعدد للرقبة عشان نتجنب إزالة أو إعطاء قيمة غير مثالية في التحكيم لأي خيل.
Now another judge's plea for the use of makeup, which might actually be costing you a half or even a point. And that is clipping and makeup. And I would put in a huge plea to stop the extreme clipping around the eye and muzzle with the heavy shining blacking that's used. It may be very good for photography, fully accept that, but it does little for the horse in the ring. I and many other judges may well deduct a half point if we see excessive black and shininess on the head. It also spoils it gives an optical illusion about how narrow or how broad is the head from the front. And if you look at these four pictures, the mare nearest me has no makeup. The next one along has a very small amount, no clipping, just makeup, a small amount of very lightly put on oil. And then you get the other two who've got beautiful heads, I have no doubt. But in my view, and many of us, these that look like, I don't know what they look like, some sort of mock-up of a horse. There is no, I don't know what you can describe it, but there's no grading of the way the clipping has been done. They look as if they've got masks on. These are not real horses. And I would plead, do not leave the clipping and the trimming to experts that know how it's done. Don't just let any old groom think that they can do it. It doesn't help your horse at all.
هنا نتطرق إلى عملية التجميل عند الخيل، لكن عندها مشاكل قد تؤثر على التحكيم الخيل. 4 صور بالتدرج. الأولى ليس هنالك عملية تجميل، خيل طبيعية. الثانية قليلا ما. الثالثة بدأ التجميل، ونلاحظ أن كثرة التجميل خاصة العين اليمين بان عليها البياض، فهذا يؤثر خاصة في الشامبيونشيب. في المقارنة يأثر عليها كأن عندها human eyes يقولوا، يعني العين بيضاء. آخر صورة كثرة التجميل وكثرة اللمعان طغى على الصورة، فلا نرى أعين بارزة، يعني ما في عيون عربية أصيلة، وبان اللمعان أثر على النظرة. هذه نظرة الحكام عادة ما ينتبهون كثيرا فياخذوا مجمل ما يشوفونه.
You know, we judges are not stupid. We can see, well, most of us, I hope, are not stupid. So please, think about this. Think of what it's doing to your horse and how you actually like to see it. Next slide. If we could, hope you can continue. We're nearing the end. Great responsibility is put on to judges in this fickle world of beauty and high investment. And so far, there's no judging system that can overcome the subjectiveness of taste and judges' integrity. The future well-being of the breed is often overlooked when there is overemphasis on any one feature. such as the extreme dish, which can lead to an underbite or constricted nasal passages. Large round eyes and fine expansive nostrils are much more important, and in terms of type are sadly being lost. Similarly, horses that are gingered to improve tail carriage, which may not be picked up in the ring, is a deception, which leads people to breed from horses without natural tail carriage, and if they don't have it, they can't pass it on. And this harms the breed, which is what we love, the breed we love. Quite apart from it being unethical and an abuse to the horse. Traditionally, there's no requirement in Bedouin culture for a dish, and there are dangers it can have on the jaw and tooth development. At extreme, it can cause the misalignment of the teeth or development of underbite, as well as restrictions in nasal passages. The Arabian has been known for its fine-skinned nostrils, capable of great expansion, and a clean throat, with space between the jaws to put your fist. Large round eyes, well set, down skull, with plenty of breadth between them, is what we should be aiming for. And there should be much greater importance from the breeders on all the features, the ears, the eyes, the nostrils, the cheekbones, as well as the dish. So please think on that.
هنا نعرض الخطوط في الرأس. فكثيرا لما نحكي على الخيل هل نراه مثلثات أم دوائر؟ والصحيح هو أن نرى مثلثات في الخيل لا دوائر، خاصة في الرأس. فالصور الثلاث أو صورة الاثنين نرى دور الفلس في تحسين الجمالية، لكن في نفس الوقت قد أثر على الفك. عيون جميلة، التنفس قد يتأثر هنا، لكن الصورة الثانية هي الخيل الرياضية لكن ما في فلس، فنشوف الخطوط متوازية والمحبوبة. في الثانية قد أثر على الفك، وما نراه اليوم في قانون الإيكاهو.
You can see what has happened here. Instead of being a straight line for the jaw, it ends up, and this is what is ending up giving you the overbite. Right. Moving on swiftly to overbite and underbite, which and why it's undesirable, and why ECAHO has brought in the rule. And it's for some people, there are rules that are made to be bent or broken. First, these conditions can be, not always, are hereditary and are undesirable for many reasons. And so long as you don't bring one with an underbite or an overbite to a show, there's nothing to stop you breeding from it. But we in the show are trying to breed horses as near perfect as possible, so why would you want to put one that is not as near perfect? Furthermore, it used to be that judges could ask the ringmaster or a handler to open the mouth if they thought there might be a problem. We consider nowadays this is inappropriate because the audience cannot see what the judges may see. But with social media, within minutes it's gone round the world and the horse may be condemned for something it doesn't have. Then we thought maybe it should be left to the DCs to do it, but they're already very busy. And anyway, why should you bring a horse that the DCs are going to eliminate before it's even got into the ring? It's much better that it stays at home. You love it, you do what you like with it, try to breed it better so that it doesn't have this problem. And I know that there are things that you can do as young horses to stop this, and it's maybe worth considering. But first of all, nutrition comes into play. where you feed the horse. Horses should feed from the ground, not from a manger, because it all affects the development of the head and the muscles of the chewing. Also, the amount you must, horses are designed to eat 24 hours a day. And if they're not, if you're only giving them one small feed every now and again, they don't use their mouths properly. So this also can affect the way the mouth develops. So I hope you will support and happily support ECAHO in this rule. We didn't want to bring it in, but it became crucial after some of the things that have happened in Europe in the past year or so on this particular point. It has nothing to do, I've heard that people are saying, oh, the next thing is you will bring in a rule for wry tail or white round the eye. Absolutely not. This is something that is seriously affects the well-being of the horse in the long run if it can't eat properly, and actually if it's too serious you can't even put a bit properly in its mouth. So please pay attention to that.
الحين نتطرق إلى يعني قانون الإيكاهو الجديد حول هذا الأندر بايت والأوفر بايت، يعني مشاكل الفك هي موجودة من زمان وشارك كثير خيول، لكن هذا الفترة انزاد العدد لأن هذا الخلل ذو طابع جيني، فقررت الإيكاهو عدم مشاركة الخيول التي عندها هذا المشكل في الفك، وهو ما يؤثر على نموها وعلى تأثيرها حتى في التوليد، فنتجنب استعمالها في التوليد.
So don't forget, you, particularly the breeders in this part of the world, who now have the future of the breed in your hands and also in the younger generation. And I would really beg you to involve your children, encourage them to enjoy the horses on a daily basis, handle them, play with them, do what they like, but involve them. Try to keep the heritage of the Arabian horse going, especially in this part of the world where it is its homeland. Thank you very much.